It's a feeling so many of us in this role know all too well. On paper, you're supposed to be this facilitator of agility, right? A coach, a leader, but your actual day-to-day, it feels a lot more like you're just herding cats, just trying to keep everything from completely falling apart. If that hits home for you, trust me, you are in exactly the right place.
So what does this frustration actually look like day to day? I bet you've seen this. The silent stand-up. You know the one. Everybody gives their little update, kind of staring at their shoes, and then crickets. There's zero collaboration, no real problem solving. It's just a status report, not a sync-up. And that right there, that's a classic symptom of a much deeper issue.
Okay, so before we dive into how to fix all this, I wanted to let you know, if you're looking for some tools you can use right now to start making a difference, we've put together a completely free Agile starter kit for you. It's packed with resources you can use today. Just check out the links below in the description.
All right, so what's the game plan for the rest of our time together? First up, we're going to decode why your stakeholders are tuning out. Then, I'll show you how to breathe some serious life back into those broken, stale ceremonies. After that, we're going to tackle the big one, organizational resistance. And finally, we'll get to the good stuff, how you can shift from being the process police to a real strategic influencer.
Okay, let's start by putting a name to this thing. We call it the Scrum frustration cycle. This is exactly what happens when a team is just doing Agile, going through the motions without actually being Agile. It's like you're on a treadmill of process that leads absolutely nowhere. And believe me, it takes a serious hidden toll on everyone.
So what's that toll really? Look, it's not just about people being in a bad mood. We're talking about real team burnout where motivation just completely plummets. We're talking about project stagnation, where everyone's busy, but nothing important is actually moving forward. And here's the kicker. It leads to a perceived lack of value for your role and for Agile itself.
All right, let's dive into the first big challenge, the disengaged stakeholder. You know who I'm talking about. They don't show up to sprint reviews, they're slow to give feedback, it just feels like they don't care. So let's figure out why this is happening, and way more importantly, what you can actually do to fix it.
Now here's the thing you have to remember. The root causes are rarely malicious. It's not that they're trying to be difficult. It almost always boils down to a combo of misaligned expectations, some pretty big communication gaps, and honestly, a failure on our part to show them the real, tangible impact of the work.
So how do we pull them back in? Okay, 3 key things. Number 1, stop talking about story points and start crafting a compelling story about the problems you're solving for them. Number 2, back that story up with data that speaks their language. We're talking metrics that tie directly to business value. And number 3, tailor your communication. A VP needs a completely different update than a product manager does. Simple as that.
Okay, let's move on to the next major pain point. And man, this is a big one, broken ceremonies. We're talking about those meetings that everybody on the team just dreads. Our goal here is to transform them from a boring obligation into the problem-solving powerhouses they were always meant to be.
And this slide just lays it out perfectly, right? On one side, you've got what so many teams are stuck with, just going through the motions, low energy, super repetitive meetings. But on the other side, that's the goal. Active problem solving, high engagement, meetings where the team actually leaves feeling energized and like they're making things better.
So how do you get from one side to the other? You got to break the routine. Try some new frameworks. Gamification, for instance, can make planning feel less like a chore and more like a fun collaborative exercise. Silent brainstorming is amazing for making sure everyone's voice gets heard, not just the loudest person in the room. Or hey, try a reverse retrospective, where you brainstorm all the ways you could fail. It's a surprisingly powerful way to get ahead of risks.
Okay, so picture this. You've re-engaged your stakeholders. You've totally revitalized your ceremonies, but something is still holding you and your team back. This, my friends, is where we confront the biggest challenge of them all, organizational resistance. It's like this invisible wall that just stops true agility dead in its tracks.
And here's the thing I really need you to hear. The real barrier, it isn't your process. It's not about finding the perfect tool. The real barrier is the deep-seated human and systemic resistance to change that exists in pretty much every organization. This is the final boss battle for a Scrum Master.
The tricky part is that this resistance is often really subtle. It's not always obvious. It looks like an obsession with tools over developing the right mindset. It's that classic, we're agile but culture, where people cherry-pick the easy parts but ignore the principles. And a huge one is a lack of leadership actually modeling the behaviors they say they want.
So, if resistance is the real enemy,
How in the world do you break through it? Well, I'll tell you how you don't do it. Not with a bigger stick to enforce the process. No way. You break through by changing the game entirely, and that means evolving your own role from being a process enforcer to becoming a true strategic influencer.
And this comparison just says it all. The process enforcer, they're stuck asking, are we following the rules? Their value is just compliance, which has a pretty low ceiling. But the strategic partner, they're asking a totally different question. Are we delivering valuable outcomes? They use influence and data as their tools, not just a checklist. And their value? It's measured in real business impact. And that, my friends, is limitless.
Okay, becoming that influencer, that strategic partner, that's the goal. But now, how do we make that change actually stick? Because a temporary win is not a transformation. We need to build a system of lasting agility, really embedding this new way of working deep into the team's DNA, so it continues to thrive even long after you've moved on.
So here it is, a simple 3-step framework to make it all stick. Step 1, empower team ownership of the process. When the team feels like the process is theirs to improve, not just yours to enforce, everything changes. They become self-sustaining. Step 2, measure what actually matters. Get away from just velocity charts and start focusing on metrics that the business actually cares about. And 3, treat change like a product. Introduce small experiments, measure their impact, and then iterate. That's how you build momentum.
This framework right here, this is your path from frustration to real measurable impact. And to help you get started on that journey today, seriously, don't forget to grab that free Agile Starter Kit we've linked below. And hey, for those of you who are ready to go even deeper and really 10x your team's performance, check out the link to join our workshop.
So I'm going to leave you with this one question, because the choice ultimately is yours. Are you going to be a guardian of the process, just making sure the rules are followed? Or are you going to step up, use these strategies, and actually become a driver of real, lasting change? What will you choose?